Hey, what's going on? In this video, I really want to talk about some ideas on why some people are really just so messed up in our civilization, our culture, and more about this book called Civilization and Its Disconnects by Sigmund Freud. Before I begin, down below in the description, there's a link, and if you click on it, there's actually training, education on how someone can make the most amount of money using various social media platforms. Now, I started reading this book. I got the idea from it because I was looking at Tai Lopez's top 10 books. And, he seems like a very smart guy. He got his shit together. So I was like, what's this recommended reading? So I checked it out. And the only thing I knew about Sigmund Freud was he was a very weird guy. And for some weird reason, I remember that Sigmund Freud was the guy that thought that women wanted to have sex with their moms or some weird crap and all this bizarre stuff. And yeah, I'm not sure if that's true. I don't know if you agree with this, but is it some truth to that guys like girls or somewhat like their moms, and maybe women like guys or somewhat like their dads? I thought maybe, that's kind of an interesting little idea there. I think there could be some truth to that. Overall, the book is just not a very good read. It's hard to read. There's big words. It's like, what the heck is he talking about? But overall, it's an interesting read because it makes you look at things a little bit differently. Like, huh, like, whoa. I didn't know about that. That's kind of weird. And Kim Kiyosaki, she's married to the guy who wrote the whole Rich Dad Poor Dad book and franchise. What she said, which was interesting, was intelligence is looking at two opposing arguments, and still kind of being open to both of them. You don't want to be just so rigid in your ways because we all could be wrong. Um, so that's what's good about looking at different viewpoints. Basically, the nutshell of the book, just to sum it up, the highlights. People are messed up because we got these animal instincts, and so society, we kind of suppress these instincts for the good fare of everybody. That's why some people just get all messed up, frustrated, and we got issues. Some people do. Um, One example is aggression. People were just naturally aggressive. Okay, and there is some truth to this. You know, Last year towards the end, I was actually in Cambodia, and I messed up and landed in a jail cell. That was an interesting experience. We had all these people in one little tiny room, and I brushed my teeth, and one guy was like, "Where's my toothbrush?" And they thought like I stole his toothbrush, and he was just going off. And I was like, "Well, if you want a toothbrush, or a toothpaste, I mean, excuse me, you can have my toothpaste, man." I was like, "What are we gonna do? Start fighting over toothpaste now?" It was just a bizarre scene, and the next jail cell, it was all this weird stuff was going down. This guy was yelling at the third guy, "Eat! You need to eat!" And he's like, "I don't want to eat, man." And he started like hitting him, and I was like, "Whoa, this is weird." Uh, so you know, I think there is a little bit of truth to this aggression in all of us, and what he says in the book is that it can be somewhat tamed if there's like an outlet. If we all kind of, oh yeah, those guys, they're horrible, and that's why I'm thinking of football or something. We need to like we need to outlet that thing. Otherwise we could end up just kind of killing each other or something like that. And that's how why neighbors. He has a whole example in the book about how neighbors don't get along of countries or whatever, and you know stuff like that. So like even I think I'm not gonna bring up religion, but even like in the Bible it talks about how you gotta be nice to your neighbor and all sort of weird stuff. Anyways, uh, we humans have basically two needs. That's what he says in the book. That is sex and getting resources, getting stuff. This is why there's aggression, and I think that there's definitely some truth to that. Kind of reminds me of another book called The Mating Mind, and basically in that book, the gist of it was, we're here to have sex, and everything we do is based to do that. But resources is another thing too, and you know, people, we search for happiness and we avoid pain. That's the reason we do everything, right? I think a long time ago there was a program by Tony Robbins, a sales program, and that's what he said. Just we want to be happy, we like pleasure, and we avoid pain. Just remember those two things. All right. In the book, he talks about the three main sources of pain which we want to avoid, is three things. Okay, decay of the body. If we start getting sick, we're not in a happy mood. Nature and outside forces, right? And our relationships with people. Those three things create pain. Make some sense? And because we can't have sex with everything that walks, we can't just go and take whatever we want, or we get jealous of people that have money. Well, I mean, I guess maybe you probably could, but society has rules that punish people like that. So, you might, you know, we kind of suppress these really deep desires, and this is why people have issues to do that kind of stuff. And then Sigmund Freud gets into some very weird stuff in this book, which is bizarre, such as, kids killing their dads so they can be the head of the little kingdom. But then they would always feel guilty about it. Yeah, there you go. Hello. Um, but one thing that made sense to me when you start talking about love, one of the most powerful forces in the world, boom. Some people make sex love the center part of their life. And he talks about that person becomes, to a very dangerous degree, dependent on a part of the outer world, namely on his chosen love. And this exposes him to, you know, the most painful suffering if he gets rejected or if he loses that love through, death or something. And the wise men of all ages have warned us of this way of life. Because, hey, you're going to be, ooh, pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Like, the love is, the highs are highs, the lows are lows. And, but, some people do that. Oh, yeah, hello. Who's ever had gone through those experiences? Big highs of love and big lows. Now, what he mentions is a small amount of people that make themselves independent of their object's desire by transferring the main value from the fact of being loved to their own act of loving. They protect themselves against loss of it by attaching their love not to individual objects, right? Because you can have a lot of pain, but to all men equally and all women, and they avoid the uncertainties and disappointment. There you go. That's a nice little outlet there. I thought that was kind of an interesting concept, right? So that's the kind of gist of the book. That's really the cool stuff I got from the book. There's a whole lot more to it, and obviously, he'll go into some more weird, bizarre stuff in this book, which is like, whoa, such as guys, which is a man's best friend is his dog, but people don't like dogs because there's no shame in having sex. They just they just have sex and they just poop everywhere. Plus, they smell, and a big thing about humans is smell. We want to be able to smell nice. If it's very offensive if somebody's like, "Oh man, you stink, dude. You gotta go clean your breath or take a shower, man." So he talks about that. What does he talk about? Oh yeah, and who forget that man is too an animal with bisexual dispositions. I'm like, what? That's interesting. All right. So the book is hard to read, but there's some fascinating stuff in there. When it comes to gathering resources, which is like money, which is great to have. We all want money. We could probably use some more money, unless you're just a billionaire or something. And times are changing, and making some cash on the side, it might be an okay idea because I bounced around, did a lot of different jobs. I remember working at some restaurant, and they were like, no complaint. They're like, Kevin, you're fired. So if you are interested in making some money on the side, which is a good idea, then truthfully the best thing you can do is really click on that link below. Okay, there's some really good training. I highly encourage you to do it. Recommend. I think it's great. So check it out. I think you like it, and hope you like this video. And yeah, I wish you the best. All right, take care and bye.